Welcome back, guys. Another episode of a podcast Sunder. Today we're Tom's and
Moha here.
yeah, and in this podcast we're explaining, discovering, re-experiencing life concepts.
Yes, that is
Um,
the point of it.
Yeah,
Basically, we just look at the stuff, look at the simple concepts and simple life stuff that we accepted, and then reactivate the logic of it.
yeah, and
Kinda,
in our
right?
deeper consciousness
And
about
deeper,
it. Yeah,
deeper
yeah.
consciousness.
We're
of
trying to get deep to the problem, guys. Deep to the problem.
And today we're gonna talk about
Relationships.
relationships. So
Let's get on it.
let's get on it. What do you think about relationships?
That's a
That's a good question.
That's a
right?
deep question,
That's a
man.
deep question.
Yeah.
Let me ask like this.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is the definition of relationship for you?
Like the relationship between two people, between a person and an object, because there's a difference there.
Any type of relationship, because
Ah.
I feel that a relationship between a human being or for example any type of any part of nature,
Yeah.
or a relationship between an object which could be, for example, your guitar
Yeah.
or like your computer or whatever.
Yeah.
There is a relationship which is not probably like the same as the relationship between the humans,
Yeah.
because it gets more complicated when the human involves.
Yeah.
But it's a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Between a certain object and yourself.
Yourself. So
Yeah.
how do you describe a relationship?
I think primarily people tend to create relationships with objects, with people that they need something from.
Primarily.
Well, primarily it's like generalized term. Like I'm not thinking of like every human being, but like most of the time there is some elements of needing something from exterior to, I don't know, validate feelings, validate ideas, validate opinions, like, and also need of a comparison between
Between two human beings.
yeah.
That is an interesting point. But can we call that a relationship? If you are in a need of something from someone,
Yeah.
then you are in that relationship because of the need. You're not really in the relationship because of the relationship itself.
Yeah, that's kind of a dependence on it. That's true.
But is relationship dependence?
Could be. There's a lot of people in the world who define like relationship as this, because they have this need of of another person. But like currently, like during these last few months, I've been realizing that relationships, like they're like a lot of different kind of relationships. There's no perfect formula for it, I would say. And yeah, what do you
But
think?
I believe that we can define it in a level that we all agree.
Oh yeah,
Um,
let's try it
we
then.
need to have a definition. Of course, the definition is not the relationship itself, but we need a common ground between us
Yeah,
in order to come to that common ground to talk about it.
yeah,
Because otherwise, we cannot talk about it. If we think that, for example, a relationship is this or that, or like what other people say, or all this, we cannot really get to the common ground,
yeah.
and the topic would just spread out.
Because
So
it's a huge topic as
It
well.
is- it is a huge topic.
Yeah,
And I believe that there is rights, and there's a right way to look at it
yeah,
in a way that we all agree. So if I could define relationship, for example,
Yeah.
I would say I would say as long as a relationship is not something that um, of course we can depend on somebody else as a physicality, like for example we depend on other people to provide food,
Mm-hmm.
to provide shelter for us, because we cannot like do all of this together,
Yeah.
right? But when it comes to the validation or like emotional support or whatever that you can call it,
Yeah.
then it becomes a little bit sketchy. Then you,
In what way? Sketchy.
because if you just need a validation, you are in a relationship because of the validation of somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I was saying as well. That's why, yeah, that's one of the things that I have realized like during these past few months actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even like, well, we can take, well, I mean, maybe it's a funny example, but we can take a relationship between like us human beings and like technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Instagram or social media platforms. Um, yeah.
As long as we use those technologies, I believe, as long as we use those technologies to get uh, a material, a material could be money or a communication between uh, a person in Nice or in person, for example, in Latvia.
Yeah.
Um, that could work. That's a healthy relationship toward that technology, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as soon as it becomes something that you depend on it,
It's not healthy anymore.
of course, again, you can depend on it because of the communication that you have with Latvia from
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as long as you start depending on it mentally, on a
Mm.
psychological domain,
Yeah.
then it becomes problematic. Because I feel like um, deep down in our unconsciousness, technology is manipulative. Like
I would agree. Yeah.
it could affect our way of thinking. It could affect our um, like concept and the truth that we have about life.
Yeah.
It pushes away from what is
Yeah.
reality and what is fact.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today as well. Like, the fact that like on Instagram, you usually see like the best,
Perfection.
the best moments, videos. I don't know, songs, whatever. For a short period of time, and it creates an illusion that it's happening all the time for everybody.
Yeah.
And then you're like, start slowly thinking to yourself like, oh, fuck, I might like need something better, you know?
Yeah.
And then you create a need for something better.
Mm-hmm.
To this idealistic self. Sorry, someone's calling me.
Do you wanna?
My mom's calling me.
Do you need to answer?
Wait a second, what was it? I will answer it quickly. Ciao, mom. Wait, no, she just hung up.
Okay.
1 second, I will call her back quickly. I will tell her we're
This is
doing your own
interesting.
podcast.
This is interesting.
Ciao, mom. Kāpēc pazudušais? Es mammas tā, man ir podkāsts. Es rakstu podkāstu iekšā. Nu minūtīt. Es biju izgājis ārā. Lo? Kāds tev? Man nebija zonas. Tu taču zini, ka vecpilsētā bieži vien nav zonas. Bet es te uzrakstīju vakarā. Es neizslēdzu speciāli, vienkārši nebija zonas, tāpēc arī nebija interneta. Bet es tev pēc tam no rīta pateicu, ka viss ir kārtībā.
Are you fighting?
Kas tad? Es biju ārā uz bāru.
Relationship, I guess.
Nu man nav tagad laika runāt rakstu podcastu. Labi, sēžat, klausieties. Mēs rakstam podcastu. Sēžat, klausieties. Let's continue.
What's happening?
She's mad a bit because she didn't know where I was yesterday.
Ah, okay. Okay. No, she's staying on.
Yeah, she's gonna continue and listen to our conversation a bit.
All right. So, as we talked about, like, actually, this is funny. So,
Okay, čau, mām. Liec nos telefonu. Jā, es tev atzvanīšu. Doj, čau.
this was funny.
Oh, brother.
This was funny.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Family matters. Family laundry. Yeah. What you were saying?
This is one of the points of technology. I mean, your mom can be mad at you from I don't know 1,000 kilometers away.
Yeah, she was just saying to me that like, oh yeah, I didn't reach you. I couldn't reach you yesterday, and I was out. I went out to the old city, to like the old town, and there's no internet there, and there's
that's the case actually.
Réseau. How do you say it in English?
Réseau.
Like the three little lines on the fucking phone.
Data.
Yeah. There's no data as well.
Okay.
So yeah, she was just mad about that. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. What is that? Like, you see, I actually see this type of conflict that you have.
Yeah.
With your mother, for example, at this moment.
Do you have a conflict with your mother?
I don't want to bring. I don't want to bring your mother into this. Oh Jesus! This went out of the hand completely. Like this is out of it.
Yeah, it's okay. So let's talk about your mother, man.
But no, I'm talking that like if a relationship contains conflict.
Yeah. Every relationship contains conflict, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At some point.
But
not every like not every time, but
I just want to like dive deeper if we can discuss where does this conflict comes from exactly.
I had the idea that like eventually if you're like what usually happens when there's a relationship in my understanding between two people, they usually, like, I'm talking about woman and the man relationship, they come together, and because of the all the phases that we usually have during the beginning of the relationship, all the all the personal things are a bit like crushed down to like make this connection even like flowering, blushing, everything, right? And eventually with time, the values and the ego that was actually like already at the beginning, who was like a bit like I don't know, like suppressed at that point starts to come out. And then like the real I don't say functionality of a relationship happens, because at that point in time you really start to understand if you're gonna be able to work out the problems,
Mm-hmm.
or no, or you will not be able to work out the problems, and you're just gonna part ways. That's what I'm thinking about it right now, at least at this
Um,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, I see what you mean. Um, I feel that's at the start of the relationship with the opposite gender, or any type of relationship
Yes. Yeah.
similar, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, there is this type of Instagram mask,
On it.
or not the Instagram mask, like, yeah, but like this best of me comes
Yeah.
out of comes out
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, obviously, like, you always try to like impress the other person. You try to like show the best side of you. Of course, you don't want to show the anger, or like jealousy,
Like the
or
bad habits, for
bad
example.
habits,
Yeah. Yeah.
or all this, like the worries and all that,
Yeah.
because that might bring the other person, jeopardize like the relationship.
Yeah.
But I think that comes from our fear of
It comes from fear.
having intimacy in a relationship. It comes from the fear of intimacy,
Yeah.
because if you are honest, like in the start of the relationship, for example,
Yeah.
about our feelings, about that, like what's happening, what's taking place in that situation, um, then we can dive deeper into the intimacy
Yeah.
and get to know each other in a way that's it's true. But I'm also thinking that, like, maybe this game that we put on, um, at first, they're like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm good, I'm like disciplined, this, all this like crazy ideas that we
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
ourselves. Maybe it's the foundation of that relationship. But what comes wrong with it is that, like, this foundation, it's the it's the essence that keeps the relationship going afterward, when the problems come
Yeah.
into the side.
Yeah.
But that's not real.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's like
Do you see
it's
what I
not.
mean?
Yeah. It's not even like. Yeah. It's not real.
Because why I'm saying it's not real, because me and you have this relationship, for example, uh, that we have met each other the day that we met each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, for example, Tom's is a really nice guy, really kind and gentle, or like very nice to other people, or like caring, compassionate, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You show this to the society,
Yeah.
right? But there's the other side of you that, for example, oh, Tom is angry, jealous, this, that, all the bad things.
Yeah.
And then when I see you in that fear, or like in that jealousy, or whatever, the idea of you from the start that we had, it's the reason that keeps me going with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, oh, I don't like what you are now,
Yeah.
but what you were was nice. So I'm gonna leave with that idea in my mind, so I can tolerate what you are now.
Ah. Yeah. I see your point. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that is not a relationship.
No, not at all. No. No.
'Cause
No.
I what I sense is that relationship is learning again. I feel learning could be applied to any part of life, and a relationship is one of them that is absolutely necessary because we need relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a need. It's not like something you want,
Yeah.
right?
Well, usually, well, for well, well, I'm not gonna be again like really generalized, but usually for a child, even the first relationship is with his mother,
Mm-hmm.
which is
But it's
which
different.
yeah, because but you also have a need for it
Yeah, but
in
the child is,
to survive.
yeah, to survive, he needs or she needs the mother. It's dependent on, he is dependent on other people
Yeah,
severely,
yeah,
right? That's aside. But as soon as the child grows up
mm-hmm.
and can take care of himself or herself in
Yeah,
some senses,
yeah.
it doesn't need protection.
Doesn't it?
At some point, I'm saying that, for example, it doesn't need protection because you have to get away from your mother eventually. You cannot live with your mother forever.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, at that point, um, I think all the problem starts at that point that you get separated from unconditional support and unconditional protection from someone, and then you expect other people to do the same to you,
mm-hmm.
and then you don't get that back from other people,
Yeah.
and I don't really know why not.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
Why don't we have a relationship between each other that we are like brothers, for example?
Yeah.
What is a problem that like me and you have? What is the barrier between me and you that we don't really see each other as brothers? Why do we have to like brother? Not in the sense of definition,
Yeah.
but in the sense that
Brother from another mother.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we care about each other.
Yeah. And your
What?
question was?
Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that with people around us? That's the question.
Yeah.
What is the difference between you and my real brother?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we can talk from the biological standpoint, which I'm sure everybody like understands that like, if you're coming from the same blood, obviously you're gonna have like some different connection to a person than if you like meet someone,
Yeah, but we are
biologically.
yeah, but
I'm
we
thinking,
are
but
we are
like
aside that.
aside
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
we're looking at
you're looking at it in a different perspective. Why is it that we human beings we cannot have a close and intimate relationship between each other, that we care and we are compassionate about the fellow human being that are next to us?
I think because we're selfish. No.
That's part of it, of course.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
I would say that like even if like there's someone who says that like, oh no, I always like think about others before myself, eventually everybody like is returning to his own personal needs, because there's a reason why there's a saying that you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Of course.
And
It's impossible to take care of others if you don't take care of
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, and then that's one of the reasons I would say that like why we constantly return to ourselves at the beginning, and why there is this thing called selfishness. And yeah, and that's also probably why we don't have like the same relationship between our friends as we do
With our
with
brothers
our
and sisters.
brothers and sisters. Yeah.
But we should agree on the that's the relationship between yourself. It's the primary level of the relationship that can happen exteriorly,
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah,
right?
well, yeah,
'Cause
how
if
you
you
take care of yourself.
Yeah, cause if you know how to have a relationship between yourself, like
Yeah.
you and yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of funny that I called it you and yourself because I just separated you between yourself.
Yeah.
But as long as I would say it like this. I think the relationship between I think the relationship again between the between comes all the time. What the hell? Wait a second.
Yeah, it's separate. Yeah.
I think the relationship oneself
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
is the wholeness of it. I don't know if you let me explain.
The wholeness of it.
I think if you feel whole,
Yeah.
if you feel one with all your senses
Mhm.
and all your ideas and all your inner world,
Yeah.
then you have a relationship with yourself. As soon as you start separating yourself, which was funny, I just did with the words. As soon as you separate yourself from yourself and I, or somebody who has to have a relationship with myself, there is a conflict.
Okay.
Because the separation itself, it's the conflict. What do I mean by this?
Yeah.
When you separate yourself from something and you always think about you. You don't think
Yeah.
about the other one.
Yeah.
But as soon as this becomes one and whole, or like this merge together,
Yeah.
when you think about yourself, that means you. That means this included in you.
Yeah.
It's one.
Yeah.
So I see relationship as this, that if we see other people as one,
Mhm.
as one of us, it's like it's us. All of it is us. Because we can go deeper into that because I think it is. But of course it's an idea somehow in my mind, but I think we can keep like on the rabbit hole and reach it, that we can see it together
Yeah.
by hearts. Um if we just imagine if you feel that you are one with your environment, you are not separated.
Mhm.
You might feel
Connected.
yeah, you might feel that you are separated physically, but you are not really separated from your environment. Because what do I mean by this?
Mhm.
I can give you an example. The ear wouldn't hear anything if the outside world doesn't exist.
On that, would you? Okay. Continue.
The eyes wouldn't see anything.
Okay. I don't see anything. Yeah.
If I'm not creating, if I'm seeing you, you are the reflection of my mind.
Well,
I
yeah,
am-
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
am-
You
I
have the
am
picture in
create-
your mind of my representation of what you were observing. You know,
deeper than that.
deeper.
Like
Okay.
not the idea of you. No,
Oh.
I'm not talking about that. But like
No, no, I said image, but yeah,
It-
whatever.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that like I'm creating you in front of me at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I stopped creating you, you wouldn't exist.
Where's Morpheus? Where's Neo?
This
Matrix.
this might be a little bit um contradictory, because you'll be like, oh, when you don't see me, when you don't recognize me, I'm there still.
Yeah.
But I don't. You're gone. Therefore, when you are with me, you are me. Because I am the one who is creating you.
I'm a bit confused.
It's a bit,
Holy shit.
It's a bit crazy.
Yeah. I wanted to say, I'm not a hallucination, man.
Please don't bullshit me, bro. Please don't bullshit me. I know it might it sounds a little bit
No, it's
it sounds a bit like
it's an interesting
crazy.
approach. Yeah.
It sounds a bit crazy, but if you just think about it.
Are you thinking of like when you said that you're creating an image of me in your head? Are you
No, forget about the image, right? If I'm not here,
Then you're not here.
no. If I'm not here, you're not here either.
So you like on the level of consciousness, you mean?
Yeah, on the level of we're not talking about physicality.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're well, yeah. I see your okay. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
You know,
If you're
it's-
not
there's
aware, if you're
there's
not
this
like
sweet
conscious,
spot.
yeah.
There's this sweet spot in you that can actually see this. There's this like little light inside you that can actually see this. If you really look at it, there's this light inside you that like shines when you think about this.
Mm.
It's like, oh yeah. I mean, if I could not, if my mind wouldn't create you,
Yeah.
or your mind wouldn't create me,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't exist either. Just imagine that your mind doesn't create anything. Then what are you?
Kind of difficult to imagine, yeah. But
Of
Shit.
course.
Well, yeah, but like
Of
I'm
course.
I'm looking at it at the perspective of that I'm trying to
But let's not get that deep. But what I'm saying is that a relationship is you work and work until you become one with someone.
But what do you well, okay. You know that there's an idea of also like on the definition of the relationships that that says that like people usually come together to become the one, like to
Mhm.
become this mythical, powerful being. It's like reunite
Mm-hmm.
mythologically. I don't remember which like religion was it, but there's this idea that like
But that's an
we
idea.
at the beginning we're like separated,
Yeah.
and that's why we like during all of our lives we try to find like that other person to like make us whole.
Yeah, but
But,
that's an idea, right? We can explore the ideas as long as much as you want. But what we are doing, what we want to do together, is that like, we see this as a fact. Because if we don't see it as a fact, it doesn't have any value. It's just it become an idea, it become a theory, and theory doesn't really have a value. Theory is a story you tell yourself
Yeah.
to convince
Hypothesis.
hypothesis,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have any real deep value. So what has value is a fact, and fact is that you can call some interaction, you can call an interaction a relationship as long as you feel one with each other. Otherwise, it's not a relationship.
Yeah. If you feel yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
You merely trying to keep an idea of someone to have a relationship with them. Cause look, if you don't feel one with me,
Mm.
right? Um, you are selfish. If you feel one with me, whatever you do will include me as well. That means that like when you, for example, walk from here to there, right? You walk here from to there, including me. In a sense that if you are here to there, you need to do something. You will do something to involve both of us, like in a benefit of all of us, not in a benefit of you. Then when you act in the benefit of you, you feel alone. You feel lonely.
Spoken like a true communist.
Jesus.
All together. No.
I should be in the government of Putin or something like that, probably.
Guys. No, but
I should go to North Korea.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
But I don't know if you
there is
if you know what I
certain
mean.
level of awareness that you can, and consciousness, and
I don't want you to agree with me, but I want you.
well,
to,
I'm trying to look into it.
Yeah, just don't agree or disagree. Just that's what Krishnamurti says all the time. That like, he's a really a great Indian teacher, actually.
Yeah.
And he says that he always says it in his lectures that like don't agree or disagree with me. Just look into it yourself, and if it feels right for you, then you're on a common ground. If it doesn't, just go away with it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because if you agreeing to what I say is that like you're just conforming again.
Yeah.
You're accepting, and that acceptance is it's merely an idea.
Well, I would argue that like you can. Well, there's a reason why there's a saying like disagree. Let's agree to disagree,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Let's agree to disagree. But
Like the
is-
accept the like the situation as it is,
mhm. Of course, that's
and
what
the
I'm saying.
ideas as
We,
it
we,
is.
we want to we're not like let's agree to disagree. It's on ideas.
Yeah.
As soon as it becomes fact, me and you are in the same place. Everybody's in the same place. Every million and million of people, if they're conscious and they're not stuck in their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk to a sane human being and you bring fact to them, they're like, oh, I agree with that. I mean, this is I can
A
see that.
fact. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that this is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
That, for example, we talked about conformity. We see it as a fact that conformity in the psyche, it's destructive
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as a fact.
As a fact. Yeah.
And here, in the relationship, right? I'm saying that if we as human beings separate ourselves
Mm-hmm.
between this and what is inside, and between me and you, as soon as we separate ourselves, we do stuff that will separate us. We do stuff that it's in the benefit of me but not benefit of you, because I am doing something to get something out of you. Then it becomes manipulative. Then it doesn't become a relationship. It becomes dependence.
Yeah. Yeah.
It becomes it becomes a self-boosting ego.
Yeah. Well, you're using the other person to
To do something to boost yourself.
yeah.
Then you're not really one. It's not really a relationship. Because as we talked about, we need to get to the common ground of a relationship. What is really a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And we ask that if relationship is selfishness.
Okay.
Does the relationship itself does include selfishness?
Yes.
How?
How does it include it? Well, I would say that you have to be a little, well, not a little, well, maybe not a little bit, but like at certain level, you have to be somewhat selfish because you need to conserve your own well-being, and you can't like lose you lose yourself into the process of being with another human being, right? That at that
I
time.
absolutely see that, but that's not really selfishness. You're just extricating uh, dependence. Because of course, if you're dependent on somebody, uh, if that somebody leaves, you feel empty
Yeah.
because you were dependent emotionally on somebody else,
Yeah.
and then you feel empty. You did everything to get
Completely.
it.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy stuff.
It's interesting that
It's crazy stuff.
it's interesting that we don't really go as deep as we
Brings
should to the relationship, like this type of questions. Why don't we learn about this in schools? Why don't we learn about this, like, why do we have to talk about it on the podcast? Why don't we learn it in our education system?
Well, we used to have classes about like ethics and social sciences. Well, no, it's not social sciences, but like social knowledge in our school during high school. But I mean, it's also like really at the surface level.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, nobody have anybody ever asked you that? What is the definition of relationship to you?
no.
What is the definition of love to you? What does love mean even?
Yeah.
Does love mean pleasure?
No.
Does
Well,
love
yeah, it's yeah.
it does?
Those type of questions. Well, they don't usually get asked at the at any moment, because we're just like I don't know, assuming that we're gonna discover it during our life. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was really good. Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you, and
Sponsors of this episode
Carrefour
and
and
grapes.
grapes, man.
Oh, look at this grapes, dude.
Grapes. Let's take a taste of it.
I'm loving the spring here.
The what?
The spring.
Yeah. Look at it. 18 degrees. Sun.
Mm.
A little bit of wind.
I just had a relationship with the grape. What the fuck was that? This is just amazing.
Yep. Grapes.
Okay, the grape almost killed me. Wait.
You want some water?
Okay.
No.
This episode is one of those
Fucking
episodes.
man.
Here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, thank you guys. See you.
next time.